I grew up. That's why I love Florida. I grew up in the Florida State offensive system. Terry ran exactly what Bobby ran. So we had good stuff to do. We had good players, and Terry was a heck of a coach. When I grew up, I always wanted to be in ball, and that's how far I went in ball. And I said, the only way to be still part of ball was the coach. And Terry always told me, he said, when you're done playing, because he and I had a tremendous relationship. He's the head coach, called the plays, and I was a quarterback. And he took me under his wing, and I spent tons of time in there in the film room. And I knew what everybody on the field did. See, here's the old adage, too. He used to ride. Coach Bowden used to ride in the game. He didn't ride on the team bus. He rode in a state trooper car in front of the team bus. You know what I mean? Well, Terry did the same thing. When I was a player, I wasn't allowed to ride the team bus. Terry would make me ride in the state trooper car with him, and we would go over the game plan over and over and over to the game. And I had to know what I did and everybody on the field did. And so I was like a coach, in other words. But he put that in me, Terry did. And he always said, when you're done, he said, you'll make a heck of a coach. He said, when you're done playing, if you want to coach, just tell me and you can start coaching and GAing. And when I immediately did, there wasn't even a thought. And then I was blessed that was around the Bowden family. That's Bobby's kids. You know what I mean? And Terry was very successful. So I got with the right family, and I learned to do it the right way. Because what Terry learned from his dad, well, then I learned from Terry, so it was like learning from Bobby Bowden. I was fortunate, again, being with Terry. We were at Salem. We were at Salem, was where we started at. I was playing. Then he went to Sanford in Birmingham. And we went to the national semifinals and then went to the quarterfinal. We had a really good team. And that, to me, as a 1AA and being an OC, I was 25 years old. I was the OC. And then the Auburn job came open, and Terry gets the Auburn job and for the 1993 season, and he takes me as the quarterback coach. And I was, a 27-year-old guy that got thrown into not just Division I, but the SEC.
Yeah.
And being around Terry gave me a huge break, not only learning what to do, but he was one of the bright young and one national coach of the year. We went there, Auburn, and won 20 games in a row. We never lost for almost 2 years. And that's what got me my break in Division I football, was being with the Bowdens and being with Terry, and then we had success right off the bat at Auburn.
I want to talk about your time when you make the transition to Florida State, your time under Coach Bowden. Walk us through that process and being able to learn from Coach Bowden before you get the opportunity to be head coach.
I've been around Bobby because I used to come down and watch practices. I used to come stay at his house and watch practices back in the day when I was at Sanford, believe that or not. He'd let me come when Terry come down. They'd take me. They'd go to bowl games. They would give me a room, and I used to go sit in the back when I was a young OC at Sanford. He'd be in game plan with his staff. I used to be with guys sitting, and they said, "Who's that?" Well, that's one of Terry's coaches. They treat me just like their son and family. I'd listen to him. I used to sit in a couple games, I'd sit in the press box and listen to him call games. Just had a headset with no mouthpiece and listen to him. That's when he called plays like I did as a head coach. And just listen to him set things up, structure things. And I was very blessed to have that at a young age. And then when I left LSU to go as the OC, I went from the OC as LSU to OC at Florida State. People said, well, that's a lateral move. And it wasn't no more money, it wasn't anything else. But I wanted to be under Coach Bowden before I became a head coach. And at that time, I actually had 3 other head coaching offers that I turned down. My object, I always said, I didn't want to be the youngest head coach. I wanted to be the oldest. Now, there were some things I wanted to be under coach specifically because I wanted to really make sure I was ready to be a head coach. And there's some things I wanted to learn under him. So I came as an OC, and it was one of the best things I ever did. And just the talks we had, not just the X and O talks. He mentored me very like his own son. We would go in his office, have talks about things, the history of things, why things were done, how he would do things. And people always said this, when he left, he said, well, you and him, you took over for him, you pushed him out. That wasn't true. He said, you guys we were extremely close. And we talked a lot after that. A ton after that. Weekly, monthly, whenever you need something, buddy, give me a call. And I would call, and I'd still talk to Terry, Jeff, Tommy. I'm very still like one of the family. But what he did was people thought there was a rift between us. That was not true, because he told me back in the 80s, he said, when I get out of coaching, whoever the next head coach is, I'm not going to be around him. I said, Coach, why would you do that? Why would he? He said, because it's not fair. A guy did that to me earlier, and it hurt me. He said, because that guy can never take over the program if I'm still hanging around. And you watch a lot of coaches up to this day, they still hang around the old. And for the coach that's there, he can never take over that program.
It's tough.
Because people still look at him. Well, you didn't do it like him. You didn't do the Bobby. See, people always said, well, how did you have success? I was very fortunate that one of the coaches that had success following a legend. that I had a lot. We won 80% of our games and won a national championship. People said, why? You want me to tell you the biggest reason? Because Coach Bowden wasn't around. He taught me, but then he let me go do my thing without looking over my shoulder and people going to him saying, well, Bobby, would you have done it that way? Would this have happened? He allowed me to coach. And I think that's a big part of these programs that great historical head coaches, which nobody was more historical than Coach Bowden, them to step away sometimes is hard. And I know they're older and they want to be ahead in the help. I think it's really detrimental to the present coach at hand. You know what I'm saying? And for me to get under him and learn, and I always remember that too. And him, I would call him on the phone. Don't get me wrong. We would go have talks. No one just knew about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he allowed me to ask him questions, bounce things off of him. But he allowed me to be me and put my own stamp on the program the way I wanted to do it, which was very similar to him, but just a little bit different. Some things I picked up from Nick, a lot of things from Bobby, and then what I believed in my own self. And that's truly the reason I think the transition was so successful, because I was able to be me, but Coach Bowden allowed that. That's the kind of human being he was. People don't understand. He's one of the, not only the best coaches walk the sideline, he's one of the best people that ever walked the sideline. And I think that's what really separates him from other people, in my opinion.